Hello, BookTube. I've got a little mail for you today on a beautiful, warm November day. 40 degrees warmer than it should be, but I won't turn it down. Lovely shirt sleeve weather to go out and about in. None of the usual precautions that you need to take once upon a time at this time of year. And some mail did pile up. There's one item that I am waiting for in the mail that I know is not here. Naturally, it's the item you're waiting for that you don't get. So I thought we'd go through these. Of course, yesterday I got the new Kindle. I got the new basic entry-level Kindle. I used it all last night. Very, very interesting. Lots and lots of reactions to it. But let's see what we have for books. Okay, so we're off to the races with an invoice. We don't want an invoice. What is this? So we have translated literature for the new year. I'm going to be getting a lot of books from the new year, I would think. This is the Amazon Crossing imprint of Amazon's publication empire. The Crossing imprint is about literature and translation. This is The Fires by Sigridur Hagalin Bjornsdottir, translated by Larissa Kaiser. Rather nice cover there. From Iceland, obviously, comes an enthralling story centering on one woman's experience of self-discovery and survival, set against the backdrop of a devastating volcanic eruption. This book is a lyrical thriller by best-selling author and journalist Bjornsdottir, translated by award-winning Icelandic translator Larissa Kaiser, and will be published in English for the first time in February. Anna Arnadottir is a brilliant scientist who lives her life with reason and order. A second-generation volcanologist, she's Iceland's leading expert on the fire-breathing giants that could, without warning, reduce a country to ash. Her work regularly puts her in harm's way, but Anna never takes unnecessary risks, living a quiet and predictable life with her tax lawyer husband and her children. Then, as a series of earthquakes rock Reykjavik, Anna falls instantly and madly in love with Thomas Adler, a bohemian photographer she meets at work. Against her better judgment, she tumbles into a secret affair, hating the thought of hurting her family, but intoxicated by a passion unlike anything she's ever experienced. The signs seem to indicate that a great disaster is to come, but now that she's upended her entire life, can Anna rely on herself to make the crucial decisions that could save an entire nation from destruction? Well, here's hoping she saves the nation, but if she cheats on her husband, then she doesn't deserve to live herself. So at least that's one element of dramatic tension taken off the table, right? If you break an oath, then I want a volcano to swallow you up. but I don't want that to happen to all of Iceland. So we'll see. We'll see what that thriller yields in the new year. I'm trying to arrange my ergonomics here, but I think I've got things down. What is this next one? Oh God, I've touched another invoice. Okay, well I don't want to do that. Let's put this out of the way and see what we have here. This is late November. Isn't it late November of this year? This is The Forever Witness: How DNA and Genealogy Solved a Cold Case Double Murder by Edward Humes. Nice cover. Once again, we have two fairly nice cover designs here. That's how you do it. It sounds like this will be true crime. I know a lot of you like true crime a lot more than I do. Let's see here. After 30 years, Jim Scharf arrested a teenage couple's murderer, the first killer found guilty at trial by genetic genealogy, and exposed a battle between the pursuit of justice and the right to privacy. Genetic genealogy? How's that different from a genetic swab? Tanya and Jay were murdered on a trip to Seattle in the 1980s. The detectives assumed that they were victims of a serial killer, but without any leads, the case seemed hopeless, and it was for decades. In deep freeze, long-term storage, biological evidence from the crime scene sat waiting. Meanwhile, in California, C.C. Moore was becoming fascinated with genetic genealogy. As DNA testing grew in popularity, she discovered another use for the technology: solving crimes. When she, Parabon Nano Labs, and Detective Scharf crossed paths, history was made and the cold case closed. Anyone can submit a saliva sample to learn about their ancestry. You shouldn't do it. You see those ads on YouTube all the time for Ancestry.com and whatnot. Don't do it. Don't give anyone your data. But what happens after the results of these tests are uploaded to the internet? As lawyers, policymakers, and police officers fight over questions of consent and privacy, the implications of the case become ever clearer. approximately 250,000 murderers in the United States remain unsolved. We have the tools to catch many of these killers, but at what cost? I'm not saying that you are guilty of murder in an unsolved case. I'm saying don't give your data, especially not private family data on other people. Don't do it. Those websites like Ancestry.com, their commercials are always full of sunny, happy people saying, I had no idea. And they talk about how low their service prices are, or maybe even sometimes borderline free, because they trust that even in 2022, you will not recognize that the money, the dollars and cents, is not the currency here. It's data that is the currency. That's what they're asking, and they're asking a lot of data from you, as much as you have to give, quite literally. So don't do it. Anyway, let's move on. That sounds good. And it sounds like it'll be more than just a true crime thriller. It will also deal with ethical and legal ramifications. Oh my God, yet another invoice. What's going on here? Okay, this... Oh, okay. All right. I think we saw this already. This is My Trade is a Mystery by Carl Phillips. 7 Meditations from Life in Writing. Skinny little thing. A book about writing. A lot of you love those too. I do too. I absolutely love them. In these intimate and eloquent meditations, the award-winning poet Carl Phillips shares lessons he has learned about the writing life and, quote, apprenticeship to what can never be fully mastered. Drawing on 40 years of teaching and mentoring emerging writers, he weaves together his experiences as a poet with the necessary survival skills, including ambition, stamina, silence, politics, practice, audience, and communication, or community rather. And this, the dust jacket here refers to this as being in the tradition of Annie Lamott's Bird by Bird, Letters to a Young Poet, and even the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. So you got a little bit of everything there. And this, I don't have a date on this. I'm assuming it's out already, but it's a tiny little thing, and it's about writing, so I'll read it tonight. Then one more cardboard package, and then we'll do the box, and we'll be done. Is another invoice going to jump out at me here? I'd rather it not. No. Oh, this is a pretty thing. This must be the finished copy. Yes? Yeah, this looks like the finished copy. Or maybe not. Doesn't have a price tag on it. Well, anyway, this is, let's see here, by Federico Garcia Lorca, translated and illustrated by Fernando Zobel, and it is Zobel Reads Lorca, Poetry, Painting, and Perlimplin in Love. So an illustrated version, an illustrated edition of a work by Lorca. So that what this will be. There is our painter. Saw him on the back as well. And this is a seminal work. No, I don't see a whole lot of paintings. Lots and lots of illustrations here. Well, there are spot illustrations in there. Let's read the dust jacket, what this is. Or the flap. This is French flaps. It's just a naked trade paperback here. Let's see here. Fernando Zobel, a Harvard student who would become one of Spain's most famous painters, translates and illustrates Lorca's haunting play about the power of imagination and the wounds of love. The premiere of this play, an erotic Alleluia, which Lorca once called his most cherished play, was shut down in 1929 by Spanish censors who confiscated the manuscript and locked it away in the pornography section of a state archive. Lorca rewrote the work in New York, and an amateur theater group brought it to the Spanish stage a few years later. Since his death, the play has also been transformed into ballet and opera. And here you have a preface by Marta Mateo, and then the book itself, Zobel Reads Lorca, presents Zobel's previously unpublished translation and features contextual essays from several scholars. Fascinating. So there's a lot going on here, not just one person's reaction to one work. Art historian Felipe Pereda studies Lorca in the context of Zobel's development as a painter. Luis Fernandez Cifuentes describes the precarious and much debated state of the humanities in Zobel's Harvard and throughout the United States in the 1940s. And Christopher Maurer delves into musical and visual aspects of the play's American productions. Okay. All right, there's lots of other stuff too here, so that is fantastic. This is just a big, weird, beautifully done critical reaction to one play by Lorca. I don't have a price on this. I think this is the finished copy. I think this is what it's going to look like. But again, there will be, this is all an Ersatz mail haul. There are Lorca fans out there I know that love him more than I do. So now you know that that is coming or is out already. And then we have the box. And then we'll be done with this summery mail haul. It's a very summery mail haul, even though we're in November. All the news feels like summer. There are 2 hurricanes in the Atlantic right now, 2 named hurricanes in November. That just never happens. Oh God, is this another invoice? Oh my God, it is. It's short sleeve weather and bright and sunny in early November. What have we got here? Oh, great. Okay, we saw this already. This is the finished copy of Stuart Clowan's book, Crooked But Never Common, The Films of Preston Sturges, with a terrific cover. Ordinarily, I balk against black and white photos on covers, but if you've got Barbara Stanwyck and Henry Fonda on the cover, you can't do much better than that. And this had an invoice, but no sheet. But we can read about it. Again, this is very much a mail haul. Every aspect of this is for somebody else. I love all these subjects, but I don't love them nearly as much as some of the rest. Some of you out there are real film buffs who know everything there is to know about Preston Sturges movies and love him and are going to want this a lot more than I do. So this version has tons and tons of blurbs on the back. Do we have a description at all? No? Oh, come on now. Wow. Well, okay, this is the finished copy. This has the ISBN and the price and everything. But it has absolutely no description of the book anywhere on it. The back is all blurbs, and there isn't a description on the inside. So that's it. It's just the films of Preston Sturges. I'm not going to read you other people's blurbs, for Pete's sake. I write them myself. There is no synopsis of this book. That's kind of amazing. Well, anyway, the author was a longtime film critic for The Nation, for which he received the National Magazine Award. And he's written a bunch of books on movies. And here he's doing an in-depth study of Preston Sturges. So will this be 1 chapter per movie? The Great McGinty, Christmas in July, The Lady Eve, Sullivan's Travels, Palm Beach Story, Triumph Over Pain, Miracle of Morgan's Creek, Hail the Conquering Hero, The Sin of Harold Dibbledock, Unfaithfully Yours, and a long introduction to Preston Sturges. So I got an advanced copy of this, and I haven't read it, so I will now dig into it. But the whole time, for every one of these books, and when I dig into these books, I'll be thinking, well, there's somebody out there who would really like this a lot more than I would, as much as I might like it. I'm not running down any of the books. But there's a Preston Sturges fan out there that likes him a lot more than I do. There's a Lorca fan out there that knows all about him and likes him a lot more than I do. Probably there are fans of Carl Phillips, the poet, out there. I don't think I remember anything that I've ever read by this author. I do like books on writing, but I wonder how much of this will be writing poetry. And then The Forever Witness, DNA Genealogy. This is going to be a science book and an ethics lesson, but it's also going to be true crime. And there are a lot of you that like true crime a lot more than I do. And also Scandi Noir, which is something, again, that I like, but not nearly as much as some of the rest of you. So this is very much a 6 degrees of separation mail haul there, but not bad as mail hauls go. Not the thing that I'm looking for, the watched pot that will not boil. but I'll have to live with that until it happens, and I will at some point do a review of the new Basic Kindle. Tell you some pros and cons. I want to use it for the tech bros. Always use their new lender technology for a week. Or at least they claim they do. Most of them are lying, but I'm going to take that interval. Only I'm going to tell the truth about it. So I'm going to use it for a week fairly heavily. I'm even going to go out and about with it, which I never do with e-readers, but I want to see what it will be like to go out and about with it without a case, without a cover of any kind. And then extensive amounts of reading during the day, and then I'll do a review of that at some point somewhere. But in the meantime, that's the mail for this very sunny, very warm day. Been out with the bean in my shirt sleeves in early November. And it's hard to believe, in fact I don't believe, that this scenario will be any different in early December. I know that we're all expecting that catastrophic climate change is a theoretical thing, that it's down the line, that our grandchildren will have to pay for it, as a typical thing for stumping politicians to say. But I believe it's here already. I think that with weird exceptions, we had a weird exception a few weeks ago, I think with weird exceptions it's going to be like this. This will be winter. Well, we can check and see. This is the 2nd of November. I'd be willing to bet that on the 2nd of December, it's the exact same weather. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, cool, clear, mild. I'd be willing to bet that's the case. And that it will just stay that way, except for summer when it becomes rampagingly hot, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, in a lot of places in the United States that had never even seen 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and in a lot of places in the world. We shall see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do get a winter. But it's shown no sign of showing up so far. Hurricanes on the 2nd of November. Which opens the question. I mean, what happens if we say right now that there's a hurricane season? What happens if there isn't? What happens if the ocean, the surface temperature of the ocean in the Atlantic is warm enough, the air coming off the coast of Africa is warm enough so that the conditions for a hurricane obtain all year long? What if we no longer have a hurricane season? What if it just goes year round? Where at any time a massive storm could develop in the Atlantic. But again, I will look on the bright side that at least in the very short term, in the very myopic view, it gives wonderful walking weather for me and my little bean. So I'm going to go do that. But I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.